What's going on, family? Cut my TV off. I'll cut the TV off so y'all can concentrate on what I'm talking about. It's your big brother K-Rino, and I wanted to do this live stream tonight because and I give y'all a few minutes to come in and hit the like button and come in and let me know where y'all at, because we'll get on all of that. I'm always show y'all love and give y'all shout outs, but we got some serious things to talk about tonight. Let me get this topic put up in here. I forgot to do it. Yeah. Talking about how do we reverse self-hate in the Black community. For those of y'all who might not know, and for those of you who do, it's been a lot of violence going on, a lot of rappers getting killed, a lot of rappers getting shot, a lot of rappers getting robbed, a lot of people in the inner city, in the hoods, suffering these fates, but they are not as known, they are not as famous. So it doesn't get the headlines, but it does not negate the fact that it's still going on, that this stuff is still happening. So we want to kick around a few thoughts, a few ideas on how we can start working towards repairing this. Of course, I have my views. I'm sure that y'all do as well. Some of you, this may not even apply to you. You may not feel like this is something that's even worthy of you being in a discussion. But this is one of the things I use this platform for, to discuss problems within our community. So as you come in, be sure to click the like button for your big brother. I'll be really, really leaning on y'all tonight for y'all's feedback. I'm already seeing people coming in. The question is, how do we reverse self-hate in the Black community? But the bigger question is, how did that self-hate even come into existence in the first place? Because we can talk about the problem, but we have to understand that there's a root cause to the problem. So we're in this position. Brother Mo 3 has been murdered. And let me say this here about the Mo 3 situation, because it's a lot of speculation. It's a lot of rumors and a lot of information going out as to what actually happened, what actually led to it, who was behind it, who. None of that matters. None of that matters, because the result does not change based on the cause of it, of the tragedy. The result of the tragedy is not changed based on how it happened. But regardless of how it happened, it's still going to be rooted in the same self-hate. And when I say self-hate, what do I mean? What do I mean when I say self-hate? Because that's a layered statement. That statement is layered. People hear the word self-hate and they say, okay, that means I hate myself, I hate me. And yeah, there's truth in that. But I'm looking at it, I'm speaking about it on a bigger scale. Because when I say self, I'm not just talking about individual. I'm not just talking about myself, talking about us as a whole, as a people. Myself and yourself is the same self. So if I have self-hatred, that means I can look at my brother or my sister who's doing good, and not necessarily even if they're doing good, I can just look at them and have a dislike for them. I can look at them and have no problem bringing harm to them. That's self-hate mentality. Why is it so easy for us to do harm to each other in the Black community? What circumstances presented themselves, or what circumstances developed that made it very easy for us to cause each other harm? Because you have to look at it like this. If we was in the wild, I guess we are, but I mean in the Serengeti. Just say we were in the Serengeti. You're talking about lions and hyenas and buffalo and elephants and zebras and crocodiles and all of these different animals that live in the wild. And survival is the order of the day. It's all about trying to eat. Every day, these animals wake up with the mindset of finding something to eat. They are driven by their appetite, and nothing is going to stand in their way of satisfying that appetite. So from the time they get up, whenever or however they get up, what's on their mind is food. And if you are a pride of lions, your food may come in the form of a gazelle. The gazelle wants to live just like the lion wants to live. The gazelle doesn't live off of meat. The gazelle is not a carnivorous animal. It's not a carnivore. The gazelle's nature is not that of a vicious hunter. So they just go about their way, eating a little greenery, drinking a little water, doing what they do. But the predator, the lion, is in the cut, and it's looking for something to eat for its family and itself, to sustain itself. And there's nothing wrong with that if you are a wild, savage beast. But if you are a human being who was created with an intelligence that's far more advanced than that of a savage beast, you were created with the nature to be a civilized being, then it's not okay to wake up every day looking for somebody to victimize. It's not okay to wake up every day looking for somebody to victimize. But that's where a lot of us have degenerated down to. And why is that? See, Matthew Mixon said we need to stand together. No question. Why is it that we as people have become so angry, and we are so easily triggered into activity that can lead to us just straight up taking somebody's life. And in most cases, in a lot of these cases, when a life is taken, we don't even have any sympathy or remorse. You know, you do something and then after you do it, you're like, man, oh man. You feel bad about it. We reached a point where we don't even feel bad about it. As a matter of fact, we don't even just silently sit up in the non-remorseful state. We don't sit silently in a non-remorseful state. We speak openly about how much we don't care about the person that just lost their life. And that's very dangerous. We'll brag on some work that we put in. And even if you didn't put the work in, you'll still glorify that it happened to a particular person. Just no love. How do we get like that? Jerry said it's programming. And you're absolutely right. It's programming. That's what I'm leading this all into, is that a process was carried out on Black people. A process was carried out on Black people that absolutely altered our minds into a state of self-hate, reduced us into a state of self-hate. And it's not just about violence. Let me make that understood. Terenzo says social engineering. It's not just about violence. The self-hate doesn't always manifest itself in the form of violence. The self-hate manifests itself in the form of envy. It manifests itself in the form of thievery. It manifests itself in the form of slander and talking about people. It manifests itself in the form of denying others opportunities. And when I say denying others opportunities, because Black folks don't own the institutions, we don't have the institutional power to deny on a mass scale. But what I mean is that, what if somebody comes to you and say, hey man, I'm thinking about doing a record with this guy, or I'm thinking about signing this guy to my independent label or whatever. What you think about him? And you know that he dope. You know it will be a good move. But in your envy, you say, nah, man, you don't want to deal with that cat. And that person may take your word for it and say, okay, yeah, you know what? Or they might not. But even if they don't, it's still the fact that you decided to throw a seed of salt in the mix that might have led to a person being denied an opportunity. So it doesn't always come in the form of violence. Shout out to Steve Rio, my brother from Canada. Appreciate the love, Steve. Steve is a loyal supporter of his big brother K-Rino, man. So how do we reverse it? I've seen some of y'all put social engineering. I've seen somebody put programming. I've seen, how do we reverse it? But first again, what caused it? People like to say, y'all can see this shirt? People like to say that man, y'all need to stop talking about slavery so much as Black people. Quit talking about slavery, man. That was hundreds of years ago. Y'all still using slavery as an excuse. People say that all the time. And some people say it because they mean it. I see you, Jalen. We on the same page. Some people say that because they mean it. They're ignorant. They don't really know. They don't understand the layers of it. But other people say it because they want to deflect and they want us to neglect that part of our history which was done to us by them, because they don't want to be held accountable for it. They don't want to have to address the different elements and the catastrophic effects that slavery had on Black people. They don't want to have to address that because it would point the finger at the beneficiaries of that slave process, the ones who put us in that position. So the best way to avoid that is to say, man, that was a long time ago. Stop talking about that. Let's suppress that history, or let's water it down to where, yeah, we'll let y'all talk about it a little bit. We talk about it during Black History Month. We'll touch on it, but we'll touch on it in the most innocent way possible. And that way, the true reality of how horrible it was, not just physically, but how horrible it was mentally on Black people, generation after generation, don't want to address that because you can't deal with the fact that this people that you tried to kill on every turn somehow managed to persevere through all of this evil treatment and still standing strong today. Physically. But mentally, the job was done correctly because we have been made to hate each other in such a way that we will do things to each other as Black people that we would never do to the real enemy. Things that we would never do to the police officer who brutalizes us. Things that we would never do to the politicians who pass laws to destroy us for generations in our families. Things we just would never do, things we won't even entertain, and things that in some cases have never even entered into our mind. See what you said. Psychological trauma. Terenzo. Psychological trauma and generational trauma, because people will say, well, man, that was them. But you don't understand the genetic trickle-down effect that the slave process had on Black people. The fear and the pain that was instilled in our ancestors centuries ago, that through in their very genetics was passed down through our DNA. Self-hate. So the dark-skinned black person don't like the light-skinned black person. The light-skinned black person don't like the dark-skinned black person. And everything centers around these minute and petty differences that we have, or characteristics, to where we actually began to kill based on differences in physical characteristics. See? So we can look at what's going on, but before y'all get to saying, man, these youngsters out here crazy, they out here, they stupid, they ignorant, they hateful, they killers, they animals, before you get to saying all of that, please understand how it got like it got. Because we're not going to let you make black people be these just savage animals, and then that's just it. Y'all, they just some savage thugs and animals. We're not going to let you put that jacket on us, because the very people that are putting that jacket on us, you created the monster that you claim is a monster. But I'm going to repeat something that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said. Y'all don't know who Elijah Muhammad is, go do some research. Hold on, let me get his shout out, man, because somebody showed the big brother some love. Who just dropped that donation? But anyway, man, much love. All that is Spiky 1898. What you want to talk to me about, Spiky? Email me, man. That's my email address. What was I saying before I stopped talking? Because your big brother, I lost my train of thought. But, oh yeah, Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that the black man is God. A lot of people got mad when he said that. A lot of people get mad when they hear that today. But let me explain something to you real quick. If you are a descendant, if you are created by the Creator, and if the Creator, God himself, if he made man in his own image, and we are direct descendants of the God who created us, then in fact, we are gods ourselves. Is that being disrespectful to God? Nope. Because he never said that we was the supreme being. He never said that we were the creator of the universe. He said that we were children of the Most High God. So if you have a father, just your biological father, you may have a strong physical resemblance to your father, and you may have a strong set of other characteristics that your father has. If you say, man, he reminds me of his daddy. He walked the same way his daddy walked. He got that same laugh. He got the same mannerisms. He thinks like his dad in some ways. So he is a reflection. He's a spinoff of his father. We are children of the Most High God. We are spinoffs. We are direct descendants. We share his qualities. We just don't manifest them fully. So when Elijah Muhammad said that the black man is God, that's what he's talking about. We just have to exercise our full God potential, and that's why we don't believe we are, because we don't do it. So you say, well, these cats out here jacking and robbing and stealing, how is he God? He is God. He is a God. Christopher Grant said, God's with the little g. That's right. But the brother that's out here selling dope, robbing, killing, jacking, stealing, he is God, but he's God in a fallen state. He's not himself. Sister out there prostituting and stripping and doing what she's doing, she's God in a fallen state. She's being other than herself. We're being other than ourselves. Because you ain't got to be out there robbing and stealing and smoking dope, selling dope, stripping and prostituting to be a fallen God, because you get up and you got a job and you ain't doing. No. Same scenario. We got our stuff too. We ain't condemning or judging nobody. Just trying to make it understood. So we got to figure out how to show them and ourselves how to tap back into our God potential in order to maximize ourselves. So if the black man is God, and Elijah Muhammad said, when you look in the mirror, you looking at God. And when you look at your brother or your sister, you looking at God. If you understand that principle, then there's no way that you could see your brother, your sister, and bring physical harm to them. You can't do it because you're looking at God. You're looking at God's creation. I got a song called God Killers. Trying to fix this camera, man. My bad. I got a song called God Killers. And I talk about how the powers that be, the establishment, did a job on destroying the God in us, stripping away all of the qualities that we had originally and removing them from our memory. So we act out in ways that are not recognizable in God's sight, right? And I ain't no preacher, so because I'm throwing the word God around, I don't want y'all to think that I'm sitting up here like I'm some holy minister. I'm just dropping the knowledge that I've been taught by wise teachers. So all this goes on, and we've been made informed in a way that is conducive to destruction. So fast forward all those hundreds of years, now you see people, rappers getting shot, getting on Instagram, bragging about it, talking reckless to each other. And it's so easy. I mean, it's like no problem. We can speak this and go eat lunch. We can go eat lunch like it's nothing. Take a life, see the blood, and then go eat. And brag on it and glorify it. Because we become savages. We become beast-like in our actions. But it can be reversed if we understand who we are. Think about the love that you have for the people that are in your family. The love that you have for your children. The love you might have for your wife, your husband, whatever the case might be. That's a different kind of feeling that you exhibit towards those people. But then when you leave and get out in the streets, you turn into somebody else. You turn into somebody else. But the point I'm making is that love is in you. Otherwise, you'd hate your children. Some do. But for the most part, the hardest dude in the street, the hardest gangster you can come up with, and I said this before, is somebody that they love. Whether it be their mama, their babies, even their fellow gang members. Is somebody that they love. So they are capable of experiencing and feeling, that emotion that we refer to as love, but love is deeper than that. See? So at the end of the day, how do we transfer that love and let it pour over into the whole community? Because the conditions of the hood create and contribute to the activities of those in the hood. So if poverty has been imposed on a community, what follows behind poverty? Y'all hit the like button, man, if you ain't did it already. See, these kind of conversations ain't too popular. I ain't talking about no rap music tonight, see? So it ain't, this topic ain't real popular. What follows behind poverty? If poverty is imposed upon a community, what follows behind that? Nate L. said epigenetics. Y'all go look up what epigenetics is. Epigenetics is what I talked about earlier too, is because it be about the mentality and the fear and the pain and the trauma being passed down through your very genetics. That's what I was talking about earlier. Subconsciously, we don't even know why we like we are. Natasha hit the nail on the head. I said, what follows behind poverty? She said, crime. Because people are trying to survive the condition that they've been placed in. Then somebody will say, well, man, you don't have to go out and rob. No, you don't. The lack of knowledge of self. And that's really the answer. I see you, Mac L. Bay. Knowledge of self reverses the self-hate. That's what I was speaking about earlier. When you know who you are and you know who you originate from, the hate turns into love. Man, I come from the God who created all of this. He had enough love for me to fashion me and put me here in this mix, in this dispensation of time, to benefit from his universe, and I'm wasting it. wasting it. Terrell C. Lane, I'm going to tell you something, Terrell. I see you too, Rebecca. Terrell C. Lane, you just said something that I just went over in my mind right before I jumped on this live. Terrell said you got to break the generational cycle. I wrote down on a piece of paper before I jumped on this live, I wrote down that exact term. I didn't write generational curse because I don't like that term. I wrote generational cycle because we're trapped in a generational cycle that has dictated Black people going through the same struggles over and over again. And even when we are in a position to pull ourselves out of it, we don't necessarily, because the cycle has been so embedded in our minds that we don't even see fit to do it. I see you, Marty Mark. We have to change the narrative. And changing the narrative begins with changing the condition. See, because the narrative is easy to perpetuate when the condition, just from the eye test, when people can just look at what we're doing and say, see, look at them, see the animals. Bring out the National Guard. Bring out more law enforcement, arrest them all, shoot them on sight. Because they're looking at it just on the surface. But you created the condition. The government created the condition. All the way back, the founding fathers created the condition. They created the condition. And somebody puts you in a bad condition and then blames you for being in the condition and blames you for lashing out. See? So knowledge of self breaks the cycle. Because knowledge of self means knowledge of God. And you grow to love yourself. You recognize your brother and your sister as yourself, and you can't do no harm to them. It's over. You can't do it no more. That's why people who come into the knowledge of themselves, when they think back on the things they did prior to that, they break down. They cry. The pain is because they realize, man, I was destroying my own people. See? But in the meantime, to our young brothers and sisters out here in the rap game, out here in these streets, let me tell y'all something. Stop feeling like you have to prove that you ain't no punk. Stop feeling like you have to prove that you are not a coward, and stop making the mistake of thinking that your manhood or your womanhood is based on those types of activities. Me carrying my pistol. Me mean mugging everybody. Me wanting to show my partners that I ride whenever they say let's ride. That's not manhood. That's not womanhood. That's crash dummy. That's foolishness. And it's dangerous because you set yourself on a path for a short life. We know a lot of y'all have been through stuff. We know a lot of y'all have suffered just from being in an impoverished condition. Live in the hood, live in the projects, bad situations, no money, dope everywhere, dope fiends everywhere, fighting, all that going on, education, no food, everything jacked up. But we can name many black people who have been in those same conditions and came out. Now they're very successful because their will and desire to overcome the condition was greater than the condition. I'm finna backdoor that one. You can make it out. When I say make it out, I don't mean like forget about the hood and go to the suburbs. I'm saying you can make it out of the condition that you're in if your will and desire to overcome the condition is greater than the condition itself. Don't bow down to the concept that I'm poor, the concept that I can't read, the concept that I'm on dope, the concept that my mom or my daddy wasn't there. Don't bow down to that concept. Reach up to the concept of God, how I'm gonna get out of this? God, can you get me out of this? See, we have to have a belief. See, it's so bad, man, for some people, man. I understand. It's so bad for some people that they actually lose the hope that God is even with them. Some people feel like, man, God can't be with me to allow me to go through this. But please believe he is. He sees it. And he knows who caused it. And I'm not making no excuses because I know how some of these idiots think. I'm not making no excuses. I'm stating reasons, cause and effect. Now, once you know the cause of how we got in our condition, then it's no longer an excuse. Khaled Muhammad said the survival of our community is warfare. It's a war. But, and I appreciate that comment, that's a jewel. But we got to eat. I said in the song Secret War, how can you win the war if you don't know that you're in one? So, to my sister's point, part of the process, part of the warfare that they're carrying out against black people, part of that is to make us not even realize that we in the war. That's wickedly wise Satan at his finest, as Minister Farrakhan said. We don't even know we in a war. Picture that. Picture being in a picture. Just you walk into a room and you just feel somebody, you blindfolded and somebody just punching you in the face. You don't know. You in a boxing ring. There's people cheering and it's a referee, but you don't even. It's like, what's going on? You just getting beat up. So we have to first be made to understand that we are in a war. Then we have to receive the weapons that are necessary in order to help us successfully fight and win the war. Those weapons are knowledge of self, knowledge of God. We'll put all that other stuff down. See, we 20 years old, 19, 18, 20 years old. And at that age, we feel like we're invincible. Nothing can happen to me. Or we just don't care what happened. Everybody don't have the air of invincibility. Some of our youngsters just have lost hope to where they don't care. They don't see themselves getting to 25 or 30 because they homeboys didn't get there. They've seen that movie. So it's like, well, shh, I'm watching people drop around me left and right. They feel like they next. So why not? But nothing can be so bad in your life at 20 years old that you just want to throw, that you should want to throw it all away. We should not be afraid to grab a hold of our youngsters. I said that the other day. Don't call yourself no OG if you ain't doing OG things. If you ain't making OG moves, don't fix your mouth to say, well, man, I'm an OG in the game. You are not an OG if you're not guiding the youngsters that come up under you. See? Teaching somebody how to break down some dope, that ain't OG no more. Because by the time you get to be 40, unless you've been just really, 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 really out of pocket, you already understand. You would be amazed at how much knowledge some of these youngsters in the street got. And some of these cats that been in the street for years that you might look at as being so savage. And you have a conversation with them and you're like, man, this dude is a scientist. Man, I done talked to some dudes that have taught me. And I'll be like, man. Then you say, well, man, why is he out here doing this? Circumstances, man. Because people still feel like they got to eat. So economics is key. Pooling our resources is key. And for those of us who want to say we OGs, for those of us who want to sit in the high seat and say, well, I made it out. I grew up in that same neighborhood and I made it out. But you're not going to get them. You can't be hollering about how you made it out, but you are not working to create opportunities to help the ones that still there make it out. See? What kind of arrogant mentality do we have, man, when we do that? We look down, man. You out here doing all this, man. You need to be trying to help them. Let's offer them an alternative to that lifestyle. Because we can't condemn the lifestyle if we can't replace it. You look like a fool telling somebody to quit selling dope. And then he go, man, you know what? What you saying make a lot of sense, brother. You right, man. I am out here killing my own people and serving this dope to people's mamas and daughters and all that. You right, man. I want to stop. And you go, yeah, that's what's up, bro. Okay, but so what you got for me? So you got a job for me? You got? Then you go, well, I mean, you need to just stop, man. Nah, you can't do that. The Last Dragon. Appreciate the donation, Last Dragon. Appreciate that, man. Nothing but love. There are people who are benefiting from our ignorance, y'all. There's an enemy out there that makes money when we go to prison. There's enemies out there who benefit from us being ignorant. In the same mentality that we have in the streets, that I'm not going to let nobody take advantage of me. I'm not going to let nobody use me. With our own brothers and sisters, we got to have that same mentality when it comes to this system. The mentality has to be, I'm not going to let you use me. I'm not going to let you manipulate me. I understand what you're trying to do to me. I'm not going to let you get over on me. Let's take that war to them. And taking it to them doesn't mean going out and committing any type of physical acts towards them. Taking it to them means coming among ourselves and raising ourselves out of the condition we're in. That's an attack on them. That's why they fear our unity so much. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that our unity is stronger than a nuclear bomb. That's what they fear. What did J. Edgar Hoover say? That the biggest threat, and I'm paraphrasing, the biggest threat to their power and establishment was what he called at that time Negro unity. Why are they afraid of us unifying? What's the problem? You should be glad if we come together and get out of y'all hair. Since you complain about our presence so much. Natasha Stanfield says she's been listening to my music since the 90s. Appreciate that. Since the 90s. So that's a 20 plus piece right there. Anybody that been rocking with your brother for 20 some years, salute. Salute to you, Last Dragon, Mac L. Bay, Matthew Mixon, Fortis, Blast Beat Industries. See, Rebecca, what you say found out today a homie of mine was tortured and found in the trunk. See, the key word you used is that people are desensitized. We have become desensitized when we see and read about stuff like that. We can read about something that's so terrible, man, that happened right in the neighborhood, and we be like, man, it's crazy. And then just move on. Because it's become so prevalent that we have just become like stone. But we can't fall for that. We got to grab our people, man. Y'all hit the like button if you haven't already. We got to gain that love for each other, man. When a lot of these acts happen out in the street, you see our brothers and sisters making a mistake. When you look at Mo 3, King Von, these young brothers that have been killed in recent weeks, to the people that are around them, the people that know them, the people who might be 100% aware of all of the intricate details of why it's happening, with a stick, they might know everything. And when you know everything about it, you understand the magnitude of how serious it really is out there, right? Those things, when you see people dropping around you like flies like that, those are the things that are being shown to you that should make you go, man, my folks is dropping like flies, but I'm still here. What is that saying to me? What sign is that to me? That sign to me should be, it's time for me to start figuring out a way to transition out of this, to not befall the same fate. But these brothers is doubling down. They looking at it like, okay, oh, you killed another one of my partners? All right, now it's really on. It's like, dude, you missing the point. Your partners are dying around you on both sides, you and your enemies. Get out. You got children. You got parents. You got loved ones. You cannot let your loyalty to a lifestyle, you cannot let your loyalty to a dangerous lifestyle be greater than your loyalty to your children and your family. You're more loyal to the lifestyle. So you're not thinking about your babies when you get on social media and start talking crazy about your enemy. You're not thinking about your babies when you are with your partners and y'all talking it up about what y'all gonna do to these cats when y'all see them and this and that. You're not thinking about your own life and your own longevity, because the air of invincibility that you have, and it's a false sense of invincibility that you have, that sense of invincibility has caused you to be delusional about your own mortality. Say that one more time. Your false sense of invincibility has caused you to become delusional about your own mortality. Can't nothing happen to me. I got my homeboys, I got goons, I got anybody can get it. One of my favorite movies is a movie called A Bronx Tale. And Sonny was the baddest dude on the block. Sonny had the goons. He had the respect. He had the fear. The whole concept of that movie was the argument between over what's greater, respect or fear. Sonny moved. When he moved, he never moved alone. Everybody shook when he hit the block. If it was a problem, he handled it. But in the end, all it took was a coward to sneak up behind him. And next thing you know, everybody was at Sonny's funeral. The premise of it all, man, to my youngsters out there, turn your thinking towards longevity. Focus your thought process on seeing your son or your baby daughter graduate. Focus your attention on, if you are in your 20s or if you're a teenager, focus your attention and make it your mission, or one of your missions in life, to live to a day that you see gray in your hair. Focus on seeing your gray hair. It's a shame to see a young man or woman die before they see their gray hair. Before your hairline start pushing back. Before your baby can even talk fluent sentences. So what are we going to do? We got to teach, we got to educate, we got to provide opportunities for our young black brothers and sisters out here in these streets. We have to become a consistent presence in our black communities. They got to see us out there. We have to start fulfilling needs that exist in our community. If children is hungry, we got to go bring some food over there. Somebody ain't got no clothes, man, that may look, we got to get some clothes popping. If education is a problem, we got to be the ones to figure out how we going to educate. Protest Maniac says separate. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that the best and only solution is separation. So how can I argue with that? Yeah, we got to separate. We have to separate because of a system that is not going to ever give us justice. In the meantime, we got to make our own neighborhoods a safe and decent place to live. And we have to raise the consciousness of our people, no matter what condition that they're in. No matter what condition that they are in, we got to raise their consciousness and make them know who they are. Imagine living a life that every day you wake up is just hopeless. That would be equal to just being stranded at sea on a raft. And in every direction you look, all you see is water, miles and miles of water. You don't see any land. Land represents the hope. Because if you wake up one day and you see some land, you get hope that if I can row towards that body of land, I got a chance. But to wake up every day and you on that raft and it's nothing but water, no hope, nothing there. It's easy for people to turn towards negative activities when it's like that. So we have to do the best we can. It ain't about you being rich. It ain't about you having millions of dollars. It's about getting together with other people who think like you and are like-minded and are passionate about doing that kind of work and get out there and make it happen for our people. So, hope I didn't forget nothing. I know I did because it's a lot to cover on this topic, man. I appreciate y'all kicking in. Like I say, this is not a popular topic because we want to play. You know, we like to play. We're focused on other things. But sooner or later, our focus is going to be forced. It's already being forced towards unity, towards separation, towards coming together. Sooner or later, we're not going to have no choice. So it's your big brother K-Rino, man. I'll be hitting y'all pretty heavy for the rest of the week. Not necessarily live streaming, but just with some topics and some news that y'all can use. Please be sure to keep your notifications on, man. If you don't have your notifications on as a subscriber to this channel, make sure you do that right now. So anytime I put a video up, y'all will know. And hit that like button before we go. Let's get to 100 likes before we go. I see we about at like 95 likes. Let's get to 100 likes before I shut it down. Let's get to, I ain't gonna leave till we get to 100 likes. I'm gonna make sure we get it. I see you, Q Marshall, in the building. D Crimes. Yeah, no question, man. No question. Apocalypse Bear. May God bless you. May God bless all of y'all, man. Straight up. Because I know a lot of people in here that, you know, that are not black people. A lot of people in here, white people, Latino people that's in the chat that's like hanging around for the long haul. Like, you know, look. So I appreciate that, man. Y'all be blessed. I ain't going to hold y'all up. All right. One.